Good day, dear parents and students. I am your teacher Rabia Atif. Today we will talk about the physics chapter Electricity in Action. It's on page number 138 in your book. First of all, we will discuss about the problems in generating electricity. Come, join me today for this important lesson. Oh no, the electricity is gone. Can anybody help me to run the generator? Mrs. Rabia, there is no fuel. Let us use the torch to continue the story. Uh-oh, we are out of cells. I'll see if we can get some from the market. Oh, look, the light is back. Anyhow, we have become very dependent on electricity. No country can run or function without this energy. In the world of industry, energy is like oxygen. No industry can run without electricity. From big industries to small industries, home appliances, everything runs on electricity. Because we need electricity, we must find a way to generate it so that it does not harm our environment. Let's have a closer look at the problems in generating electricity. The fuel required to run generators is produced from fossil fuels. These are non-renewable. This means they will run out. Fossil fuels is the fuel that we get from the bodies of the dead animals. We burn them and then we get the fossil fuels. The fossil fuels are coal, oil and gas. They are non-renewable. Non-renewable means they will run out. Once you will use it, then again you cannot use them. What is worse, the use of fuel made from fossils results in the release of harmful gases. This causes further problems for our environment. This means if the penguins are living in cold areas, due to the harmful gases, the environment becomes polluted and the penguins have to face the hot areas then, which they are not habitual of. Then is the nuclear energy. It also generates electricity. It is also non-renewable. This means you cannot use it again. It also releases harmful gases, which is really very dangerous for our environment. This means nuclear industry is a place where explosives and bombs are created. So they emit harmful gases which are dangerous for our environment. They are not environment friendly and they can cause pollution around us. On the other hand, geothermal energy uses the energy from hot springs to generate electricity. In the picture you can see the hot springs. These are renewable. Renewable means the springs can be used again and again. It won't run out. It will be there whenever we want to use them. But hot springs are not found everywhere. Mostly the countries are lacking the hot springs. Many countries are looking to find renewable resources to generate electricity. These include water or hydro energy, wind energy, and solar energy. They are clean sources of energy. That means they don't harm the environment, but they have other disadvantages. Water, wind and solar energy is used to generate electricity. They are renewable. Renewable means they can be used again and again, but they have certain advantages. This is the example of hydro-powered energy. It is provided by water. This means water is used to generate electricity. Hydropowered energy uses the flow of water to generate electricity. This requires dams. This is the picture of a dam. But it has certain disadvantages. The disadvantages of it are that dams cause problems for fish and other living things in water. Also, dams change the natural course of rivers and take away water from areas that need water for irrigation. These are wind turbines. Turbines are actually huge fans which are used to generate electricity. Wind turbines use wind energy to generate electricity. Using the wind turbines also has certain disadvantages. You need large space areas of lands to set the turbines. Plus, you need the windy areas. This means the turbines are set in the windy areas. You cannot use turbines in the areas where there is no more wind. And one more disadvantage of this producing of wind energy is that wherever these turbines, the huge fans, are set, they make the landscape worse or ugly. It does not give a good look. This is the example of solar energy. Solar energy uses the energy of the sun to generate electricity. You can see a house. There are the solar panels on the roof. And these solar panels are getting the energy, or you can say the saving the sun energy. That is called the solar energy. And they will use it to generate electricity. However, these solar panels also take up a large space to set. This is the disadvantage of it. And plus they are expensive. A lot of money is required for their setting. Still, in spite of their disadvantages, these sources are much better in the long term. This means water, wind and solar energies are renewable. This means you can use them again and again. So don't you think that we should use these water, wind and solar energies to generate electricity? Suppose if you get the charge, which source of energy would you recommend if you were in power? This means if you have to decide which energy must be used, so what would you recommend? Either the renewable resources or the non-renewable resources. Renewable resources are those which are environment friendly, and non-renewable resources are those which you can not use again and again, and they also pollute the environment. Up till now, we have learnt the disadvantages of generating electricity by different means. Have a look at the table to see the disadvantage of each source. The first column is of source of energy. The second is the type. Which type of energy is it you are having, non-renewable or renewable? Then the third column shows the disadvantage. First we saw the fossil fuel energy. Fossil fuel energy is the energy we get from burning the dead bodies of living organisms. It produces non-renewable type. This means they cannot be used again. Once they are used, they are finished. And the disadvantage of using fossil fuel energy is the water and air pollution. Then is nuclear energy that we get from the nuclear industries where bombs and explosives are made. It is non-renewable, and the disadvantage of nuclear energy is they are poisonous and radioactive. The waste is we are getting from there, or harmful gases we are getting from there, they are poisonous and radioactive. They are dangerous for the environment. Number third is geothermal energy that we get from the hot springs. It is renewable. You can use it again and again. But the disadvantage is that it causes air pollution. Then comes the hydropower energy. Hydropower energy we get from water. It is renewable. We can use it again and again. And the disadvantage of this type of energy is that it changes the course of river and it affects aquatic life. Aquatic means the life that is living in water. Then comes the wind energy. It is renewable. That the wind energy we get from the big turbines, the big fans. But the disadvantage of getting the wind energy from the turbine is that affects the look of the landscape. It needs large spaces of land and works only in areas that are windy. Then comes the solar energy that we get from the sun. It is renewable, we can get it again and again, but the disadvantage is that the solar energy production needs a lot of land, plus it is expensive to set up. Now we will go through the electronics and the description of basic components of an electronic system. Hi Spiky, why are you sad? I tripped and broke my phone. Look at all these tiny things that have fallen out of it. These tiny things are called electronic components. Electronics? What's that? Let's have a look at the definition of electronics. It is the study of how to control the flow of electrons. It deals with circuits made up of components that control the flow of electricity. Now we are going to look for electronics is basically the study of controlling the flow of electron, how the electrons flow, and it is done by certain components. So today we are going to learn about those components which are helpful in electronic devices. Electronic devices such as computers, radios, TV and cell phones are made up of different components. Components means piece or a part. Let's have a closer look at the components that form an electronic device. This means any electronic device is made up of certain parts, certain components. We are going to have a look through them one by one. This is a resistor. It regulates the amount of current flowing through the circuit. This is a capacitor. A capacitor stores electric charges. It is a bit like a battery but has a different job to do. This is a battery. A battery uses chemicals to store electric energy and releases it very slowly through the circuit. Capacitors are in all shapes and sizes, but they are usually made up of same parts. Let's have a look at the parts of capacitor. Again, I will repeat what capacitors are. Capacitors are those components which store electric charges. Here is the capacitor. There are two conductors known as plates and an insulator in between them. Conductors are those which conduct electricity and insulators are those which do not conduct electricity. So the two plates, one is dark blue and one is light blue, are the conductors, and in the middle of them the dark gray part is the insulator. The two plates inside the capacitor are connected to two electrical connections on the outside. These thin metal legs are called terminals. Can you see the two legs of the capacitor? These are called terminals, and these terminals can be hooked into electric circuit. The capacitance of a capacitor is a bit like the size of a bucket. The bigger the bucket, the more water it can store. In the same way, the more the capacitance of a capacitor, the more it will store the electric charge. This is a diode. It makes sure that current flows in one direction. On the left hand of the screen, left hand side, you can see a diode in black color. It makes sure that the current flows only in one direction. Another kind of diode is the LED light. It stands for light emitting diode. LED stands for light emitting diode. LEDs glow when electric current passes through them. LEDs are used in the indicator lights in the cars, in some letters and numbers that displays like those on digital clocks. These are the numbers which are having the LED lights. They are lighted up and the electric current is passed through them. Another component is a transistor. It is with three legs. It takes in a tiny electric current and produces a much bigger electric current at the other end. It is used to amplify or switch electronic signals and power. This is a microchip. This is another component of your electronic device. It is made up of thousands of resistors, transistors, diodes, capacitors, and other electronic components. This single, you can say, microchip contains many of the resistors which we have discussed earlier, the transistors, the diodes, capacitors. Many components are in this one chip. From inside, it looks like this. It has many transistors, capacitors, resistors. It is used in the collection of data and sending data to its correct place and can be found in almost all electronic devices. The microchip actually is meant for collecting data and sending it to the correct place, and it is found in almost all electronic devices like laptops, computers, TV, cell phones, and radios. Let's have a look at the summary. Today we have learned about the problems in generating electricity and basic electronic devices. Your home task is, you have to do these questions in your copy. Number 1, describe a turbine and say what it does. Question number 1, describe a turbine and say what it does. Question number 2, what does a transistor do? What are they made from? Question number 2, what does a transistor do? What are they made from? Question number 3, what are diodes and capacitors? Question number 3, what are diodes and capacitors? A note for you, do all the work in your science copy from first till this lesson. Marks will be given. Thank you and God bless you.